Let's make it a good day.
Coming up today, it was one of the biggest scandals of the 80s. Jim and Tammy Faye.
God does not want us to be poor.
Wait till you see the new movie. We have your first look.
Joe, hi. Wow.
Then the good news keeps rolling for Sex and the City fans. It's all in the hot dish. Then, always outspoken, always controversial. Dax Holt talks with Tom Arnold. He's here with the dirt and the details. And it is a celebration of Minnesota comedy when our friend Miss Shannan and the one and only Louie Anderson join us live. Here we go.
Let's make it a good day. We do it our own way. Let's make it a good day. Oh, no matter what they say. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Brainerd. Good morning, Blue Earth. And good morning, Bruton. Oh. And good morning, Super Zoom. And welcome to the Jason Show. I'm Jace. Please say hello to my sidekick sister from another mister and Kmart's Employee of the Month, Kendall Mark, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm nervous.
Why?
You're spicy today.
I am. We are a full disclosure, pull the curtain back kind of show. I am just in a not great mood.
He's just feeling extra spicy.
I am feeling extra spicy today. But our guests today are going to wipe all of that. We're going to wash that gray right out of your hair. We're going to wash that gray. Louie Anderson, Miss Shannan, you. I've been just looking over and seeing you every day. How can you not be in a good mood?
I mean, seriously.
Yeah. I know. I was up late. I was watching a replay of Fox 9's Town Ball. So I was up real late watching that, and I didn't get a lot of sleep. And I don't know. It's just...
It's the heat, too.
It's the heat. My poor mother, my mother's in temporary housing, like a lot of you looking for a house, and her air conditioner went out last night.
No!
So right now her dog, Tyrannosaurus Rex, her dog is the size of a small dinosaur, wrapped in wet towels right now to keep him, because he's a Mastiff.
Poor baby.
So I know, my mother. My mother has the worst luck with air conditioners, because obviously, she survived the hurricane, was in humid weather in Louisiana, and now she comes up here. What happens? Her air conditioner goes out.
Of course.
Like so many people.
Right.
Maybe I'm in a spicy mood because here's one of the it was funny. We have an audience coming up a little bit later, and one of the things we asked them if they have any questions.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that one of the women, her name is Nikita, she wants to know maybe a fact about us that nobody knows. I think people know this, but there is a little fun fact. I don't like to be embarrassed. I don't like to put myself in situations where I can be embarrassed. So know that going into this story. So as I said yesterday, I was in LA for a couple days helping my friend Haley get settled into her new condo. And there's only one brand of clothing. I'm not overly, when I'm not in this, I'm wearing a black t-shirt and gay Lululemon. That's why, so I'm not overly fancy with clothes. The only brand that I really like, I like Burberry. I don't know why, I've just always liked it. So when I was in LA, my friend Haley, we went down to Rodeo Drive. We played a little Pretty Woman. We went down to Rodeo Drive, baby, and we went shopping, or window shopping. So here's the scene. Now don't roll it yet, Leo. So we had a few cocktails at lunch, and when I say few, we had two. And we step to the entrance of the Burberry store, and you have to wait because of social distancing.
Right.
California is not as open as we are. And the guy goes, "Hello, welcome to Burberry." And I go, "Hello, too." He goes, "Okay, we'll be with you momentarily." And then we're standing there, and he comes back out and goes, "We're ready for you." He goes, "Please, upon entrance, watch your step." Now, now, Kendall, I need you to, everyone, he said that, okay?
Okay.
5 seconds later. The reason he told me to watch my step is there's a platform about 2 inches tall, which shouldn't be legal. 2 inches tall. It's a round, giant platform in the middle of the store with these 3 giant statues, like of Aphrodite or something, made of plaster. He said, "Please watch your step." 5 seconds later, I turned to talk to Haley. What do? Trip over the platform in my flip-flops and grab onto Aphrodite. I grabbed onto the plaster statue, almost knocked her down. So Haley grabbed onto me. The attendant grabbed onto Aphrodite. So roll it, Leo. Here's what it looked like. Look how shallow there's Aphrodite, or whatever that statue is. There's how everybody trips over that, the clerk told me. So I fell, almost knocked her over, and the Burberry, the fancy schmancy attendant goes, "This happens 100 times a day. You're nothing special." And I was like, oh, he did not just say that to me. But then I felt guilty. And there was a family over there and a star. He's a music star, I don't know, but his whole family was there, and he's looking at me like, who is that? I don't know, he's a hip hop star, and I can't think of his name, but anyway, his whole family's over there shopping, and he's looking at me like, oh God, why do they let this goober in? I'm with my little Twins hat, I'm an embarrassment to Minnesota.
No,
I had my Twins hat on, my flip flops, I had like a black t-shirt, and I trip and almost knocked down Aphrodite.
I'm sure she would have forgiven you. She's a god.
Yeah, very true.
She would have survived.
She would have. Let's get started, everybody. It's time for the hot dish. Roll it, Leo. Hungry today. Get the award nominations ready. The trailer. Oh, this is so good. For The Eyes of Tammy Faye just dropped. So if you don't know, it's about the infamous televangelist couple. Jessica Chastain plays the title role. Look at this.
It's all part of our mission to help people. Anyone who's hurting or they feel like they've been left out, God has a plan for us.
What'd he tell you to do this time?
Jesus keeps a taking me higher and higher.
Jim will preach and I'll sing.
God does not want us to be poor.
Waterfall of pleasure.
Now God has a voice in this fight.
Who's he fighting?
Liberal agenda, homosexual agenda.
Faith isn't political.
You can't talk to him like that. Jerry Falwell's a powerful man, Tammy Faye.
She's a firecracker, Jim.
If everyone watching could double their pledge just for 1 month, God loves you. He really does.
We're not doing anything wrong, though.
Is that a question?
Joining Jessica are Andrew Garfield as Jim Baker, Cherry Jones, and Vincent D'Onofrio. The Eyes of Tammy Faye hits theaters in September. And by the way, if you didn't know this, Tammy Faye was born in International Falls, and she grew up in Minnesota. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I always love the term, the homosexual agenda. Believe me, I go to headquarters monthly. The only agenda we have is to get RuPaul on a stamp. That's it. That's the only agenda we have.
It may be outlined in like a faux gold.
Maybe, something like that. No, this looks so good. If you weren't alive in the 80s, just trust us. This was huge. I'm trying to think of a current scandal. There's really nothing that really, maybe like a Kardashian, but even bigger. It was everywhere. It made newscasts and rags, like tabloid rags. And they had a theme park.
Right.
And then she, because of her eye makeup, she became like a pop culture figure later in her career after, I think, the scandal, and then I think Jim died, R.I.P. Is he still alive? They divorced. Is he alive, though? Oh, whoops. Sorry, I killed him off.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Hello.
he's alive. But after they divorced, then she got a talk show with Jim J. Bullock. Talk about the homosexual agenda right there. But then they had a talk show, which was Jim J. and Tammy Faye. Jim J. and Tammy Faye. Do you know who Jim J. Bullock is?
No, sorry.
Oh, it's all right. But anyway, pop culture figures in the 80s. And Jessica Chastain looks just like her. Just like her. Maybe, you know what?
What?
For Halloween, we should go as Jim Baker and Tammy Faye.
Oh, okay.
But you should play Jim Baker and I'll do Tammy Faye.
Okay.
I'll put on this big blue eyeshadow.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very 80s.
Very 80s. Next in the dish, we're getting our first look at the upcoming Keeping Up with the... I'm sorry, Kendall, I know this troubles you. The Keeping Up with the Kardashians reunion. We're getting our first look because, it's over. And Andy Cohen doesn't hold back. Look at this.
Is the show coming to an end?
We're all feeling a little overwhelmed. We had done it for so long. What people don't know is you said to me, I'm gonna put you in a car, no one will find you, just leave.
And I'll take care of it.
Wow. Do you think you owe him an apology?
Absolutely.
Do you think your relationship might have turned out differently if you hadn't shared so much of it?
Probably. Really?
But I think the substance abuse was the deal breaker.
I was pretty irresponsible.
So do Courtney and Travis have your blessing? When Tristan first cheated on you, how did you know it will be done again? Chris, have you forgiven Caitlyn for how she treated you?
Okay. I don't like this show. I've proudly never watched a single episode.
And how do you know you don't like it?
Well,
does she have a point?
She has a point. But for the sake of the show, I hate it. What are you looking for in this? Like, what do you speak? My mom loves it too. Speak for the Kardashian fans. What do you want out of this?
Well, okay. I mean, we're all pretty bummed out that this huge thing that's been a part of my life and people who've watched the show for over a decade, it's wrapping tonight. And so this is sort of the like, get everything out there that maybe isn't out there once the show wraps. That's kind of the hope, is that it answers maybe some lingering questions. They're probably not going to. Kris Jenner's like a bolt.
Yeah.
You know, but so I don't think I'm gonna get much out of it, but I'm gonna watch it just because I love them. I love their fashion, and like it's just gonna be fun, dripping in diamonds.
So the finale is tonight.
Schedule it.
What time?
No, I won't be here. I'm not watching it live. I can't actually.
See, this is proof. See, people don't watch shows live anymore.
No, I'm watching it on Saturday when I have more like time to digest and cry myself to sleep.
Oh, are you sincerely going to be upset?
Yeah.
No, and I'm not mocking.
I know.
I cried at Dallas and Knots Landing ending. So I mean, you know.
I know. I really am. It is my one junk show.
I love that.
So I'm sad.
That was Simple Life for me. That was my junk show.
See?
God, I love the Simple Life.
I think if you actually tried the Kardashians, the first couple seasons where they're total chaos, you would like it. You wouldn't like it now.
Okay. The two-part reunion debuts next week on E! And as Kendall said, the finale airs tonight. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back right after this. As they say, don't touch that remote device, because coming up next, Dax Holt is here with the scoop on his chat with Tom Arnold, and we're learning more of the folks that will be taking on hosting duties for Bachelor Nation. And then for the rest of the show, it's a Minnesota comedy celebration party extravaganza with two of our favorites, our buddy Miss Shannan and comedy icon and all-around nice guy.
Well, could I take my shoes off first?
Louie Anderson. Both will join us live. That and more when we come back.
Have you killed a person with a coat rack?
A coat rack? No.
Yes, taken two. Have you crashed someone dead in a helicopter?
No.
Dark man again.
It's 32 years ago, man. What can I say?
All right, one final question. Have you ever killed a man while he was sitting on a toilet?
Yes.
No, you didn't do that. That was Jurassic Park. That was not you.
Liam Neeson with Kimmel last night. Fun game. Our hot dish continues right now with our Insider to the Stars. Please welcome from the Hollywood Raw podcast, our good friend Dax Holt. Hi, Dax.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. You had a great guest on who seems to be doing the rounds. You got him first. He was on Stern as well. Tom Arnold.
Yeah, I was shocked when I heard he was on Stern. I was like, hey, Stern got our seconds. I like that. No, but Tom Arnold was awesome. He was a really fun guest. You know, he's one of those people that we had a line of questions all ready to go for him, and it just like went all out the window because he goes off on these like other stories that fascinate you and you want to investigate those stories, and then you're like, Man, I didn't ask any of the questions I wanted to ask, but we got all into his relationship with Roseanne and what those years were like for him. And he really opened up about like how mentally taxing it was, because when him and Roseanne split, it was like the world was against him. And he's like, it was a really rough time in his life. No one wanted to hire him. No one wanted to, trust him because he was just like hated by the world. He goes, it was James Cameron who really like gave him his start in the industry again by putting him in True Lies. And it was James Cameron who like convinced him to do True Lies and said, no, you're perfect for this role. And he goes, everyone said no to James. Like the studio was like, absolutely not. We're not going to put Tom Arnold in one of our movies. And James stood by his side and was like, nope, I want him in this movie. He is the perfect person for this. And that really was what rocket launched him back into Hollywood. He said that when the movie would start up and people would see Tom Arnold's name on the credits, everyone would boo. And then by the end of the movie, everyone was like, oh, he was actually really good in that. And that's really like the rebirth of him. And obviously he became very good friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger from that movie. They are still like best friends to this day. And we talked a little bit about his friendship with Arnold. He goes, it's funny because it's an unusual friendship, but we have so much fun together. He's like, I was there when his children were born, like literally at the hospital. And he talks about these funny like pool parties where clearly Arnold was in the best shape of his life, at this time. And Tom would show up to his pool parties and he looks around and all the dudes there are like bodybuilders in G-strings. And Tom's like, hey guys, I'm gonna be in my t-shirt.
Hey. Did he talk or go in at all? Because I know probably a large section of the audience knows him from Roseanne, his connection with Roseanne. Did he talk about her or the marriage or the show at all?
Oh, yeah. No, he talked about her. He talked about how, doing the show was one of the best parts of his life. He really had a great time doing it. And we asked him, have you watched any of the new ones? And he said, not really. He's like, he just wasn't into it. And I said, how? If Roseanne was such a big part of your younger years, aren't you curious to see either the Roseanne reboot or the Connors? And he goes, nope, just wasn't my thing. And it sounds like he still got some animosity in there towards Roseanne. They definitely don't align politically. So he had a couple things to say about her on the podcast. But he does dive a little bit into that, yes.
Anything else surprise you about him?
Just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Very much a family man. He brought up his kids so many times during this interview and how much he's enjoying the quarantine time with them and being around them, because for a lot of these celebrities they're away, they're filming, they're doing this, they're doing that. They didn't get that time to be with their families, and that's what quarantine did for a lot of celebs. It's like, oh wow, I get to focus on my family. So I think he really enjoyed that.
Before we let you go, so I happened, because I follow you closely on social media, as does most of the great state of Minnesota, and I happen to be flipping through and I see Dax at Disneyland, and I thought, oh no, that's not real. There's no way he'd be at Disneyland, because I'm sure you would have told me, especially since I was in California, and I'm like, oh, and my friend Haley, our mutual friend, said, oh, Dax is at Disneyland right now, and I said, you mean like right now as I'm sitting in California? So how was Disneyland, butthead?
So it was good, but in fairness, I only went to go check out the new Marvel campus.
Only?
The Avengers
That's
campus.
That's why I would go! Only.
And it was really, it was a quick trip, just in and out. I didn't spend the day there. And it was really to just test out the new Spider-Man ride is really why I went.
This isn't getting any better, Dax. It's not getting any better.
But I gotta tell you, the Spider-Man ride is awesome. It is so fun. I totally recommend everyone go, including you, Jason. You should totally check it out.
Yeah.
But the graphics on this thing is like revolutionary. So it's very much like a digital experience, but it looks like you're shooting webs out of your hands. Like the technology and the graphics, you do that with your hand and spiderwebs shoot onto the screen. It's so cool.
Dax making his final appearance here on the Jason Show. No, Dax, do you still, buddy? Do you still have that video up on your social?
I think I have it on TikTok. Yeah.
Perfect. Follow Dax on TikTok to see to the ride. And don't forget to subscribe to Hollywood Raw for his interview with Tom Arnold. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye. You can find Hollywood Raw wherever you get your podcasts. Pew, 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 pew. It was packed. I mean, I talked about it before.
Yeah.
People are losing their mind over it. They said it's just, again, another step forward in cool ride innovation from Disney. So
that would be really cool.
that's awesome. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero.
Is he?
Yeah, if I could be a superhero, I would be Spider-Man.
He's a cool kid.
He's a cool kid. Next in the dish, last week we told you David Spade would serve as one of the guest hosts on Bachelor in Paradise. Now we're learning who's going to join him. ABC has confirmed Lance Bass, Lil Jon, and Titus Burgess will join in on the fun. The season will air in August after The Bachelorette. Lil Jon has previously appeared on an episode of The Bachelorette. He was also a finalist on Celebrity Apprentice. They will replace Chris, who pieced out this weekend. I turn to you just like for the Kardashians. What are you smiling about? How do you feel about this?
Well, I thought the clip we picked was funny.
Oh, but I mean the rotating guest host
Yeah,
thing.
okay. Well, I feel like, one, let me explain why there was a lot of bleeping there. It's because the guy who was saying bad things had hooked up with all these girls that were arriving on Bachelor in Paradise. So it wasn't going very well for him. Two, I don't know if I love the idea of rotating hosts, just because, let's be honest, and you know how you feel about it, it already is kind of one of those borderline, like, is this a goofball, goober, ridiculous, like overly sexualized show?
Yes, it is.
And when you don't have,
That's why I call it herpes hoedown.
I know,
yes.
And I think the glue that kind of held it to like being, maybe it's like borderline classy, was a single guy in a suit who would show up and calmly talk about handing out roses. I'm not saying it needs to be Chris Harrison. I'm just saying maybe just keep it to one person who's not going to make it about themselves or make it a joke, because it'll just get even more chaotic.
And the rotating co-host thing, that's a novelty that's cool for a little while, but it wears off. They need to, I hope ABC just finds a single host for all of this.
Me too. And I don't really like I don't like any other dating shows. It's the only one I like because it always had a little bit of class to it, just a little bit. And now I'm afraid it's with this whole like, oh, let's throw everybody in there. It's not.
Can you define class?
Just a little bit.
Which, you mean Bachelor in Paradise or Bachelor?
Bachelor.
Okay, because again, hashtag herpes hoedown. I mean,
I know.
That's an STD carnival over there.
Okay.
Like with rides and carousels and roller coasters filled with herpes. Next up, it's been a rocky start to the relationship between two of the newest housewives in Beverly Hills. The tension between Sutton and Crystal continued last night. Again, both of them are new, with one odd moment bringing Crystal to tears. Look at this.
The second night where you came in my room
and
in the middle of the
gave
night.
you your coat.
I was naked.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I was just giving your coat back, you know?
But I mean, like, if someone, like, drops on the ground and covers their body, you don't, like, stay in the room, and then you said something like, what are you doing over there?
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I really didn't. I
just felt like my boundaries were crossed, and so I just felt sort of like my space was violated a little bit. It was weird, and
well, it was weird. I did knock.
It was so creepy and weird.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be creepy and weird.
There's nothing creepy or weird about somebody knocking on your, I mean, I don't know, unless you were raised in a woman's prison, maybe it would be creepy and weird. Here are your prison outfit. But what's creepy and weird about returning a coat to somebody?
I was raised in a women's prison, and it's weird.
It's weird.
Okay. They're both nutter butters. I've come to the conclusion, and it's great though. Crystal, and she didn't bring this up. This is my problem with it. Fine, boundaries, whatever. I wouldn't want someone walking in on me when I'm nakes.
Yeah.
But she didn't bring this up. She waited like 2 days later, and then she was bothered by it. Sutton's just weird. They'd had a fight. So she goes, she left her coat out here. I'm gonna go give it to her. And it's like midnight. So she does this. Crystal, she walks in, and Crystal's buck naked. She drops to the ground, and Sutton's like, oh, here's your coat. It's all real. Sutton's driving me nuts this season. I liked her last year. She's driving me nuts this year. And again, one more note on Housewives. New York. I officially strongly dislike Leah. She's ruining it. I knew what I thought was gonna happen has happened. She's ruined the franchise. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. From stand-up to improv to plays and more, Minnesota has always been a popular spot for comedy, and one book is taking a look back at the land of 10,000 laughs. Funny thing about Minnesota takes us back to the 80s, when a small group of comedians helped establish the Twin Cities as a comedy breeding ground. Joining us is the author, Patrick Strait, and our buddy, our friend, comedy legend, Louie Anderson. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Hi, buddy. Patrick, I'm going to start with you. Where was the grain of salt? Where was the grain to do this project? What made you want to investigate this?
For sure. Well, first, I'm not going to talk about the fact that Louie got a way better intro than me. That's okay. That's okay. But no, I've always been interested in the comedy scene in Minnesota. And, I think Minnesota comedy has this kind of lore about it, right? Like everybody you talk to will tell you, oh man, the Minnesota comedy scene is incredible. It's legendary. It has such a deep, rich history of great performers and great rooms and great audiences. But to me, I had never heard the full story of why does it have that lore? Where did that come from? And so really it was about sitting down and kind of understanding, how do you start something that never existed before? These days we take stand-up comedy kind of for granted, right? You can go to any club or bar or brewery or wherever any night of the week and see comedy, but how do you stand-up comedy when stand-up comedy isn't really an established thing? So that was kind of the story that I wanted to know, and it led me back to kind of these five gentlemen right here, Louie and Scott Hansen and Bill Bauer and Jeff Turbino and Alex Cole.
And Liz too. Louie, obviously, Louie, you know this. Obviously, in the early 80s, we were getting known for our music scene, not so much for comedy. Did you know something was happening, Louie? Could you feel it with the talent you were surrounded with?
Yeah, I mean, I could feel that we were doing something special because people started showing up. Rodney Dangerfield stopped by, Joan Rivers. We even had Tiny Tim perform. We had lots of really great performers come by after their shows, at the Carlton Celebrity Room. They would come by and do a set on our stage, and it felt very much like our own little paradise, our own little New York City.
Patrick, when you're looking into this and you're hearing the stories from Louie and Liz, and is there something that stood out that kind of surprised you? I mean, I'm sure the whole thing was a learning experience, but what surprised you when you were researching this?
Yeah, I don't know that this is a surprise, but I think this is kind of reinforced what I knew before. And that's, the camaraderie, which, anybody you ask, Louie or otherwise will tell you, stand-up comedy is, it's a solo sport, right? It's something where, you're up there by yourself, you're developing your own material. But at the same time, the camaraderie between the comics, like you said, from Louie and Scott and Jeff to Liz and Stu Voss and, the whole crew over at Dudley Riggs and things like that, had such this great camaraderie where everybody wanted to see each other succeed. People really were supportive because everybody was kind of in this together. There really wasn't a set path of here's how you do stand-up comedy and here's how you become a success. So whether it was traveling together to these different rooms, whether it was, kind of working together to literally build these stages in some cases, the camaraderie between the comics was really the most exciting part for me. And even when you heard about, some squabbles or some disagreements, you could see at the end of the day, this was a group of people who really supported each other and really wanted to see this comedy thing take off for everybody.
Louie, what do you tell colleagues or what do you tell up-and-coming comics or just contemporaries that come to Minnesota about our audiences? What do comics need to know? Because, we have a very specific, as you know, sense of humor around here. What do you tell comics?
Well, Jason, they're the best audiences ever.
Ever.
Jim Gaffigan, all the stand-ups come there and rehearse their specials before and sometimes shoot them right in Minneapolis. There are more theater seats in Minneapolis than anywhere except for Broadway in the United States.
Yep.
So it's a sophisticated but picky audience. Doesn't want to be offended. doesn't want to be talked down to, and wants to be entertained, and they're for you. They're with you, they're for you until you cross the line.
And Patrick, I'll give the last question to you. Where do you see Minnesota comedy? You're looking back, obviously, in the book. Where do you see it going? Do you think our place is pretty secure as being a great kind of a warming bench?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a warming bench. I mean, I think Minnesota's become a comedy destination. You know,
Yeah.
I think when you read the book and, you know, you talk to Louie and some of the originals out here, you know, it used to be you had to go to LA or you had to go to New York if you really wanted to strike it big. These days, you know, comics are coming to Minnesota because of a lot of stuff that Louie just said. You know, we have great venues and great audiences, and we have this reputation for being really good writers and for putting on shows and for, you know, giving comics the opportunity to really grow and experiment and try things. And I think you're just going to see more and more of that. You know, the book really, I think, kind of explains how we got to that point. But, you know, the place we're at stand-up comedy-wise in Minnesota now, I think we're just going to keep growing and growing until, you know, we continue to kind of be one of those hubs like a New York or an LA or a Chicago or anywhere else.
The rest of our hour is dedicated to celebrating Minnesota comedy, so Patrick and Louie are sticking around after the break. Find out how you can see Louie this weekend. That and more when we come back after this. Welcome back. Today's show is dedicated to comedy in Minnesota, the past, the present, and the future. He didn't like my first intro, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to get better. I'm joined again by the author of A Funny Thing About Minnesota, the great, the talented, the legendary, the iconic Patrick Strait. See, Patrick, and I'm giving you a separate applause right there. And now, joining him and is the very regal-looking, the legend himself, our good friend Louie Anderson. Louie,
hi.
First of all, I miss you. I usually see you once a year, and I haven't seen you lately, buddy. I miss you.
I miss you guys too. You know, Jason, I've always had fun on your show, and I was one of your first cheerleaders when you were doing the shows to see if it was going to work. And,
yes.
And all that stuff, and it's so great that it's still happening. And you know, we need a Minnesotan like you on the airwaves, calling people nutter butters, and because everybody thinks that when they watch these shows, they go, "What a nut." What a nut.
I mean it, Louie. Everyone in the you look so regal. You look like you're getting ready to order someone removed from the kingdom, or look at you. Look at the blue.
You know, this hat makes me so happy. The whole get up. They did a poster of me and John Amos, and you know, I put it up. The movie was such a big hit, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. 33 years later, we all get together, you know?
Yeah, what was that like? I remember when Arsenio was here on set and announced that Eddie was going to do it. What was that like, Louie, when you guys did get back together?
It was really like old times. You know, walked into the set, there were 100 people on the show that day working, and it was fantastic. And it was just like old times. We all just started talking about the stuff we always talk about, which is a lot. Stand-up comedy had a big part of that, because I bet there's 20 stand-up comics in that movie.
Yeah, including Leslie Jones, who I just...
Yeah. I love her.
Oh, I love her, Louie.
I thought she did a really great job.
Louie, I teased your show. What's coming up on... It's Saturday, right, my friend?
Saturday, 8 Central. Rush Tix, RUSHTIX. I got a brand new special. My very first virtual special. I've been working on the material in the pandemic, and had so much fun doing it, and so excited about performing it. And you know, so I'm going to have a little audience right in my home, and then I'm going to have an audience that's everywhere. And I don't know if there are any meet and greet tickets, but I'm going to do a meet and greet afterwards. I don't know if there are any left. That's a really fun experience too, kind of questions and answers. And I like doing something I haven't done before. And this is my 43rd year. 1978, we started it in that little club not too far from where you guys are. And it's still going.
Legend, Patrick, I'm going to give you the last word here, icon. What was it like, and if someone was to just put the pressure on you like I am right now and say, describe the man next to you, the man being Louie, how would you describe him to a total stranger?
I mean, I would say from a professional standpoint, he's the greatest to ever come out of Minnesota. I mean, that's plain and simple. He's one of the best comics of all time. When people ask me, you know, who are my top 5 favorites, you know, even if he wasn't virtually sitting next to me, I would say Louie is absolutely one of the best. And from a personal level, I mean, I've said this to him, but I guess I'll say it to the Jason audience. You know, Louie is one of the kindest, most selfless people I've ever had the opportunity to meet. You know, whether it was professionally or personally. You know, putting this book together, he was so giving and so open with, you know, his experiences and his history. And, you know, he didn't have to do that, quite frankly, you know. I mean, look at the hat, look at the background. The man, I need him. And no, I mean, Louie, honestly, and not just Louie, but the whole gang, you know, Scott, Jeff, and everybody was so incredible. And, you know, I'm incredibly proud to be a part of this and have played at least a tiny sliver of a role in this history that these guys created.
Well, more than that, though, Jason, Patrick really made this happen.
Yeah.
He went and saw everybody, talked to everybody. Now we're in the Historical Society. It's great Minnesota history. And I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Well, I will end following Patrick's words and piggybacking, not saying it as eloquently as his. There's a reason Louie Anderson's face is the first face you see when you enter our studio. He's everything Patrick said +4. I love you, buddy. The legend himself, Patrick, and the icon himself, Louie. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Bye, guys. Patrick's book, Funny Thing About Minnesota, is available now. As Louie said, Louie's comedy show from Las Vegas is happening this Saturday at 6 Pacific time. That's 8 here. For tickets, go to, as Louie said, rushtix.com. Miss Shannan, when we come back. Back in a moment. Today's show is a celebration of comedy in Minnesota, and we couldn't talk about stand-up without our next guest, who is part of the Jason Show family. Please welcome back to our show. There's my sister, looking beautiful. It's Shannon Paul. Hi, sweetie.
Hello. Good morning. How are you doing today, feisty pants?
Oh, I know. You know me. You know me very well. I can't hide anything. I'm a little spicy today, Shannon.
When you call Dax a butthead, I'm like, oh, it's that day. Okay.
Oh, it is that kind of day. Uh-huh. You look, I'm going to start here. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. You know what? I think a lot of us had a lot of challenges over the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is. Time has flied from the before times to now times. So really trying to mentally find that space for yourself.
Yeah.
We normally didn't have. So I've been really trying to work on that, because I'm like, at least if I'm like healthy on the inside, hopefully it'll look like it on the outside.
It does. Let's talk about your show. I love the name, Miss Shannan and Friends. It's like Carol Burnett, girl. It's like Carol Burnett and Friends.
Okay. From your lips to the universe's ears. I was just watching, I watch all the old Carol Burnett episodes on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they still give me such joy. I mean, such joy.
Shannon, I just watched the last episode last night and cried.
This morning, I was watching the one where they had Neil Sedaka on, and I was just like, it gives me such joy. For everybody out there who's only 11 years old, if you haven't gone and watched old episodes of Carol Burnett, you really should, because if you just want to see somebody who just knew how to perform, and it was so authentic and so wonderful, and all of those bits, I mean, the fact that they really hold up now and still make me laugh so hard, it just gives me so much joy. So when I need a morning palate cleanser, I watch old episodes of the Carol Burnett show.
Shannon, you know what this segment's called? We are old, girl. We are old.
But we look good.
We look good. Okay, tell me about the show. Tell me about the show.
Okay, so it really is Miss Shannan and Friends, because we're just getting back to doing a lot of in-person shows.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be out, I wanted to do something a little different, a little special, and if nothing else, hang out with my friends. So it's myself, Tiffany Norton, who I know you know very well, my bestie, Trevor Anderson. He is amazing, amazing, and one of the funniest comedians that you may not have ever heard of, my good friend John DeBoer. So we're going to do that tonight, basically on Jason Matheson's patio, because we're in the North Loop. And we are in, it's a private club called North House. So not only do you get to see all of us be funny, you get to this is one of those places where they have to let you up in the elevator, Jay.
Yeah, Shannon, Shannon, can you hear me? I live in the North Loop. I don't know where this is.
It's in the Soho building, right across the street from the Free House.
Oh.
Right. That's the thing, is that it's the North House is for real. When I say it's a private club, you can't just go, hey, and flash your VIP card and get in. You have to know this place exists. And so not only can you come and see us, you get to go walk around in this fancy schwank place that only like the special people get to get into. So it'll be fun tonight.
Shannon, is there like a password or something that we have to say?
The password is, I have a ticket to Miss Shannan and Friends. And you show it, and they will let you in. But basically, there's also going to be tickets at the door. So you can get the information by going to my website, Miss Shannan, Shannon with an A.com. Or if you could find out where it is, it has the address on it, and then you could just come tonight, and you can also get tickets at the door.
Hey, Shannon, we have a minute left. Talk about our friend Louie Anderson. You and I.
Oh my gosh.
We've talked about him behind his back. And you know him well from the stand-up world. He is that guy, isn't he, Shannon? He is that guy.
I mean, he really is part of the reason I'm still doing stand-up comedy. He was so kind to me when I was first starting out. And the advice that he gave me was a lot different than some of the other advice that I got. And, I was just in Patrick's article talking about another show where they go, well, why are you a clean comedian? Why do you live in PG-13 land? And Louie was one of the people that said, no, lean into that and be who you are and talk about what you find funny and figure out a way to get other people to understand your world. So he gave me the best advice, and he really did shape the way that I not only perform, but the way that I talk to other performers and the way that I try and encourage people that if this is your passion, to get in it, live in it, and just do the best you can and be authentic.
That's right.
Louie is amazing.
And be spicy sometimes. Miss Shannon?
Occasionally.
That's right. Love you, sweetie. Good luck tonight. Break a leg.
Thanks, honey. Talk to you soon.
The Miss Shannon and Friends comedy show is happening tonight at the North House in the North Loop. Tickets are $15 in advance, $20 at the door. Go to missshannon.com for more information and go support our friend. I love that woman. We're going to take a break. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to follow us on social media and our personal accounts, too. Jason Matheson, Kendall Mark. How great were our guests today, Kendall?
I love them. They're not just funny. They're very smart, wonderful people.
They are, just like you. Smart and wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You, too. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. We had some technical difficulties earlier. I want to apologize to our virtual audience, Nikita and Lisa. Ladies, I'm very sorry. The entire station's working on Fox 9 Town Ball, so we're a little understaffed. So I'm so very sorry. Nikita, you're from Stillwater, right?
I am.
And Nikita, I hear that you love a member of our staff, the Ted. Is that true?
I do.
Well, good news. Nikita, good news. Go to your front door. Ted's there right now.
I don't think so. I just talked to him a little bit.
And Lisa, you're from Duluth, right?
I am.
You're wondering when we're going to come back to see you.
Yes.
Well, again, we are working on some trips right now. Everyone's working on Fox 9 Town Ball. As soon as that's over, then we're going to get back on the road. So we were just talking about this, and I really mean this. I've done this for 20-some years. The greeting, warmth, and reception that Kendall and I received and the staff, it was unmatched. Your town treated us so well, and we'll never forget it. So thank you guys so much. And I apologize that we didn't get to have more fun with you, but please come back and see us soon.
Sure.
Thank you. We'll be sending you some Fox 9 Town Ball gift packs. There we go.
We have those?
We do. That's right. All the money. Tomorrow on the show, singer Kat Perkins joins us live. She's part of a new initiative helping the local restaurant industry survive the pandemic. Can't wait for that. Go out there and be yourself, because nobody can tell you you're doing it wrong. Bye, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.